Hello to all you management scholars out there. This is Dr. T with our Chapter 1 Spotlight video. As a reminder, these videos are just a short mini lecture, if you will, compared to like an in-class lecture where maybe I go a little bit more in depth, maybe I give more examples. And so hopefully you get something out of these. They're going to be short, maybe 10 to 12 minutes, where I highlight what I believe to be the most important parts of any given chapter throughout. Remember, this class is the fundamentals of management. The goal is not to make you a subject matter expert about everything in management, rather to expose you to some of the concepts, the ideas, the theories, the examples, to expose you to management so you have a strong grasp on it. And so that's what we'll do with these spotlight videos. And oh, by the way, this is our first full week of school, and I hope things are going very well for you. Hope things are off for a great start. So let's dive right in, shall we? Okay, so let's define what is an organization, what is management. An organization is defined as a group of people who work together to achieve some specific purpose. It could be two or more people. It can be you and a friend who own a lawn mowing business. That's an organization. Technically, that's an organization. It could be a huge, massive company like General Electric with thousands and thousands of employees around the world. That's an organization. And an organization, within the organization, managers operate within different types of organizations: nonprofit, for-profit, non-governmental organizations, governmental organizations, public organizations, private organizations. There's all different types. That's how we define an organization. When it comes to management, this is happening within organizations. And so it's about achieving goals efficiently and effectively. Efficiently means, can you do it rapidly without sacrificing quality? And effectively means, can you do it at a very high level? So in other words, if I'm being tasked to bake a bunch of cookies and I'm not really a great cookie maker, and they tell me I need 100 of these cookies, okay, I might just put a batch in, take it out. Maybe one batch didn't cook to the right level and it's gooey on the inside. So I was efficient because I got 100 cookies baked, but I wasn't effective because they were not very tasty. Conversely, if I bake one cookie and it is the most delicious cookie you've ever tasted in your entire life, but it takes me all day to make that one cookie, that wasn't very efficient. The goal of management is to maximize efficiency and effectiveness, to bring these things together. You're integrating the work of people, so you're not necessarily the person in charge of doing all the various tasks. Managers and management is in charge of getting the folks to work together sometimes across different domains. Can marketing work with R&D? Can work with operations, etc. This is the background or the foundation of our entire course. The planning, the organizing, the leading, and controlling the organization's resources, to include not just physical resources like aluminum and steel and whatever, copper, right? Physical resources, but most importantly, the human resources part of it. Remember, let me just point this out again. The things that are highlighted in red also serve as a study guide. Those are the things that you should study a little bit more, because it's more likely to be on the tests, on the exams. So certainly there's an art to being a really good manager. But the good news is that there's a science to it as well. So management and being an exceptional manager is something that's teachable. You can learn from others how to be a better manager. When it comes to studying management, that's what you all are doing now. You are studying the fundamentals of management. Well, what's in it for you? What can you hope to gain from this? Well, if you're a traditional college student and you're not fully in the workforce yet, maybe you've had part-time jobs or summer jobs, but the more you learn about management, the more that you can relate to your managers when you get into the workforce, because you're going to understand the language of it. You're going to understand the challenges, the obstacles with management. So you can relate to your managers and your supervisors better. You can better interact with your coworkers. As your career unfolds, and maybe some of you are non-traditional students and you're already in a career and you're going to complete a degree, maybe you already understand some of this, but as you go through your career, the best career manager you will ever have is you. Nobody will ever manage your career better than you can, because who else is as invested in your career than you are? So if you understand management, you will understand how to navigate your own career. And then, of course, an ultimate outcome, which who says no to making a little bit more money, or maybe a lot more money? But when you study management, these are some of the outcomes, some of the rewards. So practicing management is a little bit different than studying management. It's one thing to have all this head knowledge, but how do you put it into practice? That can often be the difficult part. Knowing about something and actually doing it are two different things. I can tell you everything about a golf swing, you know, keep the plane right, follow through, take a divot, and like, it's great. I know it in my head, but can I do it out on a golf course? Not very well, not very effectively. So when you practice management, it can be so rewarding to have a team or to have a project that you're leading, you're managing, and when it comes to fruition or you achieve your goals, or the folks who you're managing, you see them grow and maybe they become a manager themselves one day. It's such a great feeling to see that your work. How do you put a price tag on something like that? We're going to take a much deeper dive into these processes, so I'm not going to get too much into detail on them now, but understand that the management process consists of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Notice how this is cyclical. We often start with planning because you have to execute something, so you plan it out first. And then you organize it. How are you organizing it? Oftentimes we try to segregate or separate management and leadership. The two are not mutually exclusive. Leadership is part of management. And controlling, how do you measure your performance? What kind of outcomes do you have? What kind of measurables is the term you're going to hear out there in the corporate world? And the best plans take lessons learned from all these other functions, these other processes, and it goes into a better planning. So you're constantly refining and getting better and better. Hopefully, that's the goal. All right, 4 levels of management. Top managers think they're long-term, they're more strategic. Middle managers, also top managers are creating, refining policy, setting the direction of the company long-term. Middle managers have this challenge of taking the policies and the plans that the top management establishes and getting the folks on their teams to buy in and to do this. This can be very, very tricky because sometimes the middle managers don't even think it's the right strategy or the right plan. But yet and still, if you're going to be a good manager, you have to buy in, and then you have to get the folks who you lead to buy in. First line managers are right there on the spot with their team. Safety, I hope, is a big priority for your organizations, no matter what type of organization. So a first line manager is out on the floor with his or her folks. And if Joe forgot to put his eye protection on that day, the first line manager will be the one, hey Joe, remember to put your your eye protection on. We don't want you catching a stray piece of metal to the eye, right? It's unlikely the CEO or the COO or the CFO, the top level managers, are going to be down on the floor, right? There's certain roles for different levels of managers. And then you've got team leaders, but not everyone's in a management position. Some people are just there to follow the assignments, and hopefully they're doing it with great motivation and great enthusiasm. If you've got good managers who are up here on this chain, so to speak. All right, so you've got functional versus general managers. Functional are responsible for essentially one activity. I'm highlighting, as a Boston Red Sox fan, the difference between a functional manager, the manager of the baseball team, Alex Cora, who's going to make decisions based on, hey, what does the other team's lineup look like? Who should be the starting pitcher this day? It's the 7th inning. My pitcher, who's right-handed, is dealing, but right now they've got a batter coming up. It's a 1-run game, and this guy hits right-handed pitchers very well. So now I've got a point-in-time decision to make to maybe put in a left-handed pitcher. That's right on the spot. It's a functional manager's role to do that. On the other hand, Craig Breslow is the general manager or the chief baseball officer for the Boston Red Sox. He's not deciding like what to do during the game. He's deciding like we don't really have a good first baseman. We've got a great lineup, but our first baseman has a lot of errors. We need somebody who's better defensively. So now his job is to look all across college baseball, the best first baseman, other major league teams, minor league players. He's thinking long term, how long to sign a player, how much to pay a player. He's responsible for a lot more than just the play on the field, so to speak. Okay, there's 3 types of managerial roles. Understand these 3 different types: interpersonal, informational, and decisional. And here's some of the titles of the folks you might see in there: the figurehead, leader, liaison, monitor, disseminator, and spokesperson. If you think about Department of Defense, it's not always the Secretary of Defense who's out in front of the cameras all the time. It's often a designated spokesperson who's speaking on behalf of the Department of Defense. So that would be an informational role. And then we have a slew of decisional roles here. So understand that there's 3 roles and kind of what they consist of. There's 3 skills. Very few people, and I would say all 3 of these exceptional leaders who I highlighted in my course overview, who have made a profound impact on my life, they possess these 3 to very high levels. And that's very rare. It's hard to master these 3 skills. But of the 3, I would say that Dr. Elke Leeds was the strongest with her technical skills. General Vincent Brooks was strongest with his conceptual skills, although he had very strong technical and human skills. And General Turner has exceptional human skills. If you ever meet General Turner in person, you will feel like you're the most important person in the room, because he's got this great ability to just pull you in and just make you feel special. He's an awesome dude, but he's got these exceptional human skills. But these are the skills that you're going to need to be a really exceptional manager. Well, listen, that wrapped up pretty quickly. If you have any questions, you've got my email, you've got my phone number. Please reach out. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your questions about Chapter 1, how to be an exceptional manager. Have a great day. Spotlight video. Go Nighthawks.